Our next inductee is special in a lot of ways. Today, we look at Don's athletics and we see so many girls teams participating. But in the 70s, that was not the case. Slowly, and with the help of some trailblazers, girls athletic teams were able to also share the same moments that the boys teams did at Santa Barbara High. And one of those pioneers was in girls tennis. Alison Hardey was a captain, a champion. And in the late 70s, as a member of the Dons, she began, along with her teammates, a dynasty of girls tennis at Santa Barbara High. It resulted in 4 straight CIF championships. Alison, as an individual player, earned not only all CIF honors, but also, with the girls that followed her, was a captain that so many of the championship teams of 80, 81, and 82 looked up to. Alison Hardey left Santa Barbara High, went on to Stanford, and became an NCAA champion. Wow. This is a little bit of a personal story. I've just completed close to 30 years as a sports broadcaster and reporter. And my first assignment, I was 16 years old, and I heard on the campus of Santa Barbara High that there was going to be a big tennis match that day between Santa Barbara and Dos Pueblos. I got in my Camaro, I drove down to the News Press building, I walked past security, I walked up to the sports desk, and I walked up to the editor, Dave Cole, and I said, Dave, I'm David Bolton, I'm a student at Santa Barbara High, there's a big tennis event, Santa Barbara DP, and he said, I've heard about it. He said, go cover it and write 8 paragraphs. I ended up covering that year every match for the Dons, every rivalry with DP, all the way to the CIF championship. And I remember having the sidebar article on the first page of Sports. So girls tennis is something that's so special to me. And Alison, you are so special to Santa Barbara High. You are so special to your teammates and so special to all the traditions that are Santa Barbara High and Dons athletics. And it gives me great pleasure to tonight officially induct you into the Santa Barbara High School Dons Athletic Hall of Fame, Alison Hardey.
Well, this is going to be hard to follow. He's a powerful speaker. I wrote my speech out. First of all, it's an honor to be here. I'm an unexpected guest, I feel, here with such heroes, Randall Cunningham being one of mine. I remember watching him play for the Philadelphia Eagles, thinking he was the most beautiful football player I'd ever seen. And he also ran the ball, and I think he was one of the first. And I remember thinking Michael Jordan, Randall Cunningham, they were equivalent in my mind. So I'm very honored to be here tonight because he is one of my heroes. So I'm going to read this quickly because it's a little bit long and I don't want to bore everyone. So let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Alison. And what a lucky kid she was. Just by chance, she grew up in the most amazing of communities. A community where the grown-ups have for generations had the foresight to generously give their time and money to create great public schools with high academic standards and first-rate athletic programs. My mom started at Santa Barbara High. She was student teaching and was a PE teacher, and she did it at Santa Barbara High School in the 50s. And I can tell you that this lucky kid is still very grateful to many people who loved, supported, and nurtured her, and it accumulated in earning an athletic scholarship to Stanford University and being part of another women's tennis dynasty. Coming to Santa Barbara High School as a female athlete was strikingly unusual. For my generation, it was very rare to play sports at all as a female. And when I was in high school, they made me feel like it was just the normal thing to do. Launching my tennis career was Carol DeRosa, who insisted that even though it was an individual sport, that I be a part of a Don's team, and she made me feel privileged to be a part of it throughout my stay at Santa Barbara High School, and she was so right to set that tone for me. Not to mention Lloyd W. Garrison, that Sally and I have such fondness for. He stepped in when we didn't have a coach, and he made us feel that we were as good, if not better, than the men's tennis team, and we deserve to be there. These people were instrumental in creating the Don's women's team dynasty that I was so privileged to be a part of. But let me circle back to when it all began at age 12. And Ron Masuris was teaching group lessons and saw me with my little braids and said, "You can do this," even though I was just a really rare kid to be out there playing in a sport that was dominated by boys at the time. And he said, "No, you can do this, and come back tomorrow, and you're going to get better each day." And he set that standard for me. And then came along his brother, Larry Masuris, who has, in his own right, shepherded many, many fantastic tennis players throughout the last 35 years, 3 of whom won the U.S. Junior Open. And just recently, his protege was at the the Australian Open. So he was a stand for me. He said, "I know you want to quit, I know you want to give up, but you have talent, and I know it's a tough sport, but you're going to do this, and I'm going to get up every day with you until you get it right. And I owe you so much, Larry. I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much." The other 2 people in my life that made a huge difference, of course, is my parents, Eleanor and Gordon Hardey. And it takes a village to raise an athlete. Randall, right? It's countless, endless hours before school, during school, after school, no weekend play. We never went out on Friday nights. Because we had to get up the next day and practice. And I want to thank my parents for always providing for me and making it possible for me to play a sport that I deeply love. Let's see. So finding myself on this stage 30-something years later is such a pleasant and unexpected surprise, and I want to thank every one of you for supporting Santa Barbara High School. The Giordanos I grew up with their boys, and boy, have you done something special for all of us, so thank you. And this ends this magical little sports chapter in my life. I'm, again, honored to be here with these professional athletes and all of the Yale gang, and all of the athletes that came before me, and all of the athletes that will come after me. Thank you so very much.